Hey y'all, this is Allison hanging out in my space to craft. Today is my mom's 86th birthday. So I haven't made her a card yet because I've been out of town for a couple of days, but I want to make her a really special card, something that she'll really like, and I'm going to use this Sizzix Thinlits designed by Lisa Jones. And it's a whole bunch, it's some layered flowers. I think that's gonna look really pretty. I've done this part of it before, but I've never done the whole thing. So I've pulled out a whole bunch of scraps so that I can do some of the layered pieces. So let's start with the flowers. There are two different flowers, and then there are bits that go on the, are there three different flowers? One, two, oh, that must be the smaller one. Two of these. So these are going to be on the beige. These are going to be, we'll do this one here and this one here. And then the insides, the extra pieces, it looks like I'll cut two sets of those, these and these. Yeah, that'll fit. And then the insides of the flowers. Let me just see. What am I missing? I've got two different yellows for the insides of the flowers. And so this is the big one. This is the smaller one. This is the inside of the flowers. I'm going to ink everything as well. So this is going to be a little bit of a process. This is going to be the main part of the leaves. This is going to be the darker part of the leaves. Oh, this is part of, oh no, I'm gonna do this here and this. No, does it matter? That's all the pieces, so I'm still gonna do that if I can make that fit. I think I can. That goes there. Let's see, I'm gonna do some stalks in that. I'm gonna do this in some yellow. And then this is on this green also. I think that will get me. Oh, I'm missing these leaves. I need to go find those. I must have put them somewhere else or they're on my desk. So I'll find those leaves and get them cut also. And I'm gonna go off and cut all of these pieces on my Big Shot, and I will be back. All right, so I have all of the pieces cut, and I'm going to ink them, and I decided to pull out my new miniature ink brushes. They're a lot more narrow, and since these are pretty fine, I didn't want to use my bigger ones. Thought they might give a little too much coverage. So I have a couple of different pinks, and I'm going to use them on the different pink papers that I cut, just so the flowers are unique. This is a much brighter pink, obviously, but it's going to come out really nice. I have already given this to my mom. I was making this in the morning, and we went to dinner this evening, And now I'm back and gonna post the video. So she loved the card. She loves the cards that I make her. I make all of her, you know, her Mother's Day card or Christmas cards, and then I make cards for her to give to her friends as well. So they all like it. I'm using not mowed lawn. I think the darker green for these, because the green paper that I used is pretty dark. And I'm just doing the edges as I ink these. I'm not trying to get full coverage or anything like that. I'm just doing the edges to add a little bit of dimension. Especially since I use cardstock or plain paper for most of this. I don't think any of the papers, one of the papers I used had a little bit of pattern in it, a tone-on-tone green, but just for some tiny pieces. And one of the cream pieces that I used had some mottled bits, like recycled paper kind of thing. But other than that, everything is plain paper. And so it's really nice to add the ink there because it gives it a lot more dimension when you're not using patterns. So I'm just doing some of the white bits. I'm adding a little bit of green to some of the green bits that was just on the green brush that I used. And I picked out a yellow ink. It's not going to show up as much, especially on this dark bit, but it does show up on the smaller pieces. And now I think we can assemble. I'm just clearing a space, and I decide to clean up my mat just a bit so I don't get unintended ink on other things. And we'll just assemble. I'll assemble one of each item with you here, and then I'll do the rest off video. These tweezers, or as Tim Holtz calls them, squeezers, are really handy when you're doing small pieces. I don't have long nails that I can use to pick up and hold things, so things can get in the way. So, and these, one of the bits on here is super tiny. It's teeny tiny sliver of paper, but it does really add dimension to these leaves. And now we'll make this smaller flower. And I'm doing it cream on tone on tone, sort of a white flower, but two different pieces of paper, two different colors of paper, and a little green stem and a little yellow center, and it's good to go. And I have a leaf. There's two of these leaves, so that's super easy. The veins look nice on it. And this one's a little more complicated. There's three different pieces that go on the inside of it. So I'm just dry fitting it there, and I'll glue it together off screen. So here I've dry fit the pieces together. I've cut this very old piece of paper, and then I just did a really tiny thin frame on the piece of paper that I cut the leaves out of, mostly because I didn't have another piece of green that I liked that worked with it that was the right size in scraps, and I didn't want to make a whole bunch of scraps with it. As you know, most of the cards that I make, I try to use my scraps. If I'm just making a one-off card, it's easier to use scraps than to use one 12 by 12 sheet or 8.5 by 11 sheet and then create more scraps. So I really try to stick to the philosophy of using those scraps up. So I just dry fit it together on the card to make sure everything would fit. And now we're going to glue it. And I'm going to start with some pieces that are at the bottom as a basis. So then we'll do the flower. I'm not putting glue on the very outside edges of the flower. That way I can tuck some things in and I can curl up those petal edges as well. So this came together really pretty fast. I don't do cards this complicated very often with, lots of die cuts on them. I tend to do really simple things, so it was really fun to do something kind of special for my mom with a lot of bits and pieces. And the sentiment that I found, I like. I've already put some dimensional adhesive. Here you can see I'm rolling up some of the petals just to add a little dimension. And it's just a simple happy birthday sentiment, but the colors worked. The size worked. And I'm happy with that card. We're going to add some little dots. I've got some pink Nuvo drops, and I'm just going to sprinkle those around. So please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already subscribed. All right, so I'm just finishing up those dots. I think I did 5 across, kind of 5 across the top and 5 across the bottom, which is an even number, but odd for each end of it. So there you have it, and a very special card for my mom on her 86th birthday. Happy birthday, Mom.